As far as video games go, no game gets around quite like Tetris. According to my sources, it's been ported at least 200 times to pretty much every console under the sun at this point. Hell, they even created these sins against humanity, so people born before the smartphone could get their fix while they take a dump. So yeah, it's fair to say that Tetris has gotten around the block. And I'm not going to be that guy that re-explains Tetris to you, right? You know, blocks fall, you put them in a line, and when you put them in a line, they disappear. You get points. Remember when I said I wasn't going to explain it?
I lied.
So, yeah, Tetris can be all over the place in many, many more ways than one. Sometimes it has bombs. Sometimes it can give you a seizure. And sometimes, well, ooh, yeah, I don't know where to go with this one. I don't know what it does, but I can assure you it's nothing good for your physical and mental well-being. But all of this brings me to the game that I want to talk about today. Behold, the ultimate version of Tetris. Coming in all the way from 1992, we have Tetris for the Philips CDI. What's up, guys? My name is Evan, and thank you for stopping by the channel. Now, this is something a little bit different for me, but hey, let's have some fun with it. If you like this video, Tetris, or just video games in general, hit the sub button to keep up. In all honesty, I've been dying to talk about this game for years. In looking for the words to describe it, the one that keeps coming to my mind is an absolute enigma. But unfortunately, every time I try and utter the words Phillips CDI to my friends and family, they look at me like this. For those unfamiliar, a super quick history lesson. The Philips CDI was released back in 1990 as a multimedia system. It wasn't really marketed as a video game console, but a fair share of games came out, and it's since gotten popular with the video gaming community. It did have a few notable games. You probably know them. It's the 3 terrible Zelda games that came out of a failed agreement with Nintendo, and Hotel Mario, which I've never played, but I don't know. I always gave this game a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. In a stupid arcadey way, I always thought it looked kind of fun. Going back to Tetris, just take a look at this cover. It's the most 90s thing ever. It's radiating just juicy 90s energy. It's amazing. Just read it here. Tetris, the classic becomes a legend in CDI. Does that even make sense? I don't know if that even makes sense. Who the hell wrote that? And who the hell okayed it to be on the front of the box? Okay, whatever. Not a big deal. But enough talk. Let's get into the game. So CDI Tetris, on the surface, is a pretty bare-bones version of the game you probably know and love. There's only one mode, and it's one where you work your way up the levels every 10 lines you clear. So you'll start at level 0 and go up to level 9. And the game absolutely makes sure to tell you what level you're on. Every 10 or so lines, the action completely stops, and you're forced to look at this splash screen while the game loads up. You do this until level 9, which, I'll be honest, was so fast my brain stopped working, and I could not hang on it for more than a couple minutes. Especially compared to level 8, 9 is a sharp difficulty curve. You can't just chill on level 0 either. There is no endless mode on one speed. You can start at a certain level, so if you want to start at level 6, you can do that. But as soon as you hit 70 lines, or whatever the threshold may be, whether it's 72, 73, whatever, you're moving on to the next level. And as for the gameplay, that's pretty much it. There's only a handful of options to customize each round. Like, you can turn off the piece previews to see what's coming next, and you can add in a set number of junk lines if you're into that kind of thing. Personally, I almost never play this way. I think this might have been the first time just recording for this review, and honestly, I think anyone who willingly starts a game of Tetris with all this shit on the screen should probably be thrown in jail and given a mental evaluation, but that's just me. Perhaps more importantly, this version of Tetris is kind of hard to play. You can only rotate Tetraminos in one direction, and for some reason, your score only goes up when you place blocks, not when you clear them, so there's not really any incentive for chaining together a Tetris or anything bigger than single lines. It almost feels like more of a survival style Tetris than anything. It's almost more fun to see how many lines you can clear than what your high score is. There's also no quality of life adjustments that we've seen in later Tetris games. There's no hold, there's no preview to show where your piece is gonna land on the screen, and there's no soft drop, so you can't speed up how fast pieces go down the screen. You can only hard drop them, which is kind of annoying. And making matters worse, as soon as those bricks hit something, they are locked in. The wiggle time that you're usually afforded in a more modern Tetris game just isn't here in this one. But those complaints are mostly understandable. Remember, it was 1992, and a lot of these little improvements just weren't standard practice for Tetris yet. Take a look at the NES version. There's no hard drop in that one, and the pieces stick immediately. but at least NES Tetris controls well. There's no wonder it's the gold standard for professional play right now. It's tight and responsive to split-second inputs. CDI Tetris is not. Yeah, a Tetris game with bad controls. The main issue is skipped inputs. It's really, really bad. For example, if you press a D-pad or spin buttons once, it will regularly count as, say, 2 presses, and it'll send your pieces places that you do not want them to go. You might skip an input or skip a line, and when things get really fast, you're gonna feel it. Especially when pieces lock immediately and you don't have a little outline to see where they're gonna fall. I consider myself a decent enough Tetris player. I find myself losing control of runs much quicker than I'm used to. And let's just pour one out for everyone in the 90s who had to use one of these. Oh my god, I just cannot possibly imagine. So you may be wondering, Evan, from everything you just told me, it sounds like this game kind of sucks, right? But the gameplay isn't the real reason that you need to play this. You may have noticed by now, this whole game is basically a shitty version of Tetris thrown into a Bob Ross painting. It's incredible. Think of it like Local on the 8s from the Weather Channel in 1992. It just screams 1990s or early CD media in a way that few other games can. This era, especially in that early day of CD technology, was just obsessed with throwing CD quality music and full motion video in games however they could. And there's very, very few games that display that kind of corny need for this technological advancement better than CDI Tetris. The backgrounds were apparently shot in California, and this new age, vaporwavy music was made by composer Jim Andron, and I love it. All of it comes together to create this amazing 90s fever dream, Frutiger Arrow-esque infomercial vibe that goes unbelievably hard for no reason whatsoever. This is Tetris. Hallelujah. Holy shit. I'll admit it. I'm a sucker for this new age, vaporwavy vibe, but just look at some of these scenes. Some of my favorites are level 0 with this peaceful running creek while you drop all of your blocks, level 5 where your game is among the tall trees of a lush forest, and level 3. I mean, doesn't this make you feel like you're just trapped in the desert, hopelessly trying to play Tetris as you search for any signs of life or a source of water? I mean, where else are you going to get that? I don't know a single other Tetris game that's going to give you that. And in all seriousness, it is a pretty relaxing experience. At least until you're forced to remember how much the controls kind of blow. And you only hear each of these tracks for about a minute or 2 tops. Remember, you only need to clear 10 lines to move on to the next level. And if you're set up to do that, you could do that easily in under a minute. I think the only scene that kind of sticks out to me is level 6. This is a really nice beach scene. I love the video that's going on here. Yeah, it's good stuff. However, the music is giving Christmas, not a sunny day on the beach with your mother-in-law and your dog. Wait, is that my dog? Whose dog is that? They put a dog in my Tetris game? Some gamers say that back in the day there were strategies on how to unlock the dog Easter egg in Tetris CDI, but it's just a video playing. The soundtrack really is worth a listen. Level 0 and level 5 are my personal favorites, but all the way through you're gonna find good stuff. It won't be for everyone's taste, that's for sure. But if you appreciate this vibe, this is gonna be right up your alley. It definitely takes me back to a time I've never lived in. And between the backgrounds and the music, I actually did have a good time playing this. By no means is it a great version of Tetris, that's for sure, but it does do a good job of putting you in the zone. It's kind of like Tetris Effect, but in a much different way. Think of Tetris Effect like going to a rave. Tetris on CDI makes me feel like I'm somewhere between the Windows XP Bliss background and the Betty Crocker Bacon Fill commercial.
Here's some inside information from Betty Crocker.
Betty, can't you see I'm busy here? So overall, I think Tetris on CDI is worth a listen, but not so much a play. For me, I kind of look at it like 3DO Doom. Both are not great releases by any extent of the imagination. They both give us some sweet music that we wouldn't have gotten if they never were made. So for that, I think they deserve a little bit of love. If you want to track down a copy of CDI Tetris, it's actually not that expensive. Right now, according to price charting, it's only going to run you around 30 bucks or so in the US, but you're still better off emulating it. Finding a working CDI these days is getting harder and harder, and the ones that do work ain't cheap. If you want your CDI fix, I recommend you play Tetris, and you should play Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore. It's like those bad Zelda games I talked about earlier, but actually good. Yeah, I was just looking for a reason to plug this game because I really love it. But anyway, that's all I got for this video. If you're still here, thanks for sticking around to the end. And comment down below, what is your favorite version of Tetris? For me, I think it's Puyo Puyo Tetris, just because me and my fiance have played the battle mode a ton. Like hours and hours on that. And we never played Puyo Puyo. It's always Tetris, but it's still a lot of fun, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, guys, like this video if you enjoyed, and hit the subscribe button to keep it here. Peace.